Hi guys, welcome back to Crafty Quilting Designs. I hope you're well and having such a great day. It's Saturday morning here and it's a little bit dull outside. The sun hasn't come out as yet. So fingers crossed, you know, England, it comes and sometimes it doesn't. So let's hope we have a beautiful sunny day. It's meant to be 21 degrees. So far, I think it's 17. So fingers crossed, as I said, that we turn out to have a really beautiful day. Well, okay, guys, it's exciting time again. So it's another tutorial. This week, it's a jelly roll. And the reason being is because on Wednesday, we had National Jelly Roll Day. Now, when I say we, I don't mean England per se, but, you know, the quilting world. National Jelly Roll Day was on Wednesday, and so I thought to pay homage, you know, respect to the jelly roll, let's do something with jelly rolls. So what I actually did was I had this fabric called the Glitter Effect, and it was by Little Johnny. Okay, so I only had, I think it was 1.5 meters. So it was 1.5 meters by 60 width of fabric. So it was a pretty good size. Now, I bought this when I went to the fabric store, probably about 10 weeks ago, something in that sort of manner. And it was on offer, obviously, because I think it was the last bit of the roll of the fabric. Okay, and so they was just trying to get rid of it. So I bought it, and I've been saving it for something really special. So when National Jelly Roll Day was approaching, I thought, right, I'm going to do something with this. Now, I know it wasn't enough to make a whole completed quilt. So I decided to make my own collection of jelly rolls. So I cut up fabric, that particular collection of fabric, and I also cut up some other yardage as well, and I added an accent color in there. Now it has come together really beautifully. So realistically, I made my own 42 strips of fabric for my jelly roll quilt. Now it is a modern take on a jelly roll race quilt, but it's not stitched together in that sense. So what I have done, and I hope you will enjoy the process and the fabric as well, but I haven't got any more to show you to you right now, so you're gonna have to wait till I tell you what to do. Okay, I mean literally it's probably about 1.5 inches left from it. Okay, however, I did save a few pieces of the strips because I want to add to that to show you how to make some pillowcases to go along with the quilt itself. Now it's sort of retro, and for me it has a bohemian look to it, and I kind of like that kind of sort of, you know, hippie lifestyle. And also the backing fabric is very retro as well. So I think they both went together really nicely to create this quilt. I hope you enjoy the process. So let me take you through right now. I'm not going to show you a sneak peek, so I'm going to keep you in suspense. Okay, I'm going to keep you in suspense of how I actually made it. It's not difficult to make. It's quite easy, to be honest. But I think it's nice. I think what it does is allow you to learn to contrast your fabrics, and I think it's good to be able to know to do that quite confidently, so you can pull fabrics from any yardage or any collection and create something really wonderful out of it. So I think it's a good exercise to do. So yeah, get in the habit of doing that. I will urge you to try and make the quilt. It's easy. I did do some quilting and I used my walking foot for it. Again, nothing difficult. The quilt itself comes together very quickly. I would say you can make it in a day, okay, minus the actual cutting. Now the cutting didn't take that long because obviously we are cutting 2.5 width of strips for our jelly rolls, okay, but it didn't take long to come together. It came together quite quickly. So I would definitely have a go, look at it and see if you like it. And again, it's a good way of learning to contrast your colors, and the better you know how to do that, the more confident you are going to be moving forward making quilts and everything else that you most likely want to make. So with that said, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so that you know when another video has been uploaded, you know, and you're like, oh my god, she's on there again. Let me see what she's done this time. Next week's quilt is going to be a layer cake. So, and to be honest, guys, I already started making This, in fact, the layer cake was meant to be for this week. But when I realized it was going to be the jelly roll day, I thought, okay, let me switch it up very quickly. And I know I'm late in posting this. I finished the quilt a few days ago, but you know, life takes over, isn't it? So life, work, husband, they all take over, and sometimes they push things aside. So hence it's coming up Saturday morning. So I hope you enjoy the process, and as I said, like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a comment. I love hearing from you guys as to what you thought of the process. So hey, this is our jelly roll collection, and let's see what you can make from yours. Bye for now. Okay, so I have this really excited project and I wanted to share it with you guys. Now, I'm going to make my own selection of jelly rolls. Now, I've chosen these 3 sets of fabric here. This particular one is absolutely beautiful. I love it, absolutely love it. I bought this from my local quilt shop, and it's a meter. I think it was the last meter of the bolt, and it cost me £6. Now, I love it because of the varying colors that you see there, and I'm just in love with it. It just looks like the stars and the moon, and you know, like a nice print of the galaxy. Now, I wanted to cut this into many different, you know, pieces, and I thought, no, it's going to be lost. And so I thought I will contrast it with this particular fabric here, and I'll also add some white. Now, Jelly Roll Day is coming up, and rather than use a jelly roll strip, I wanted to use my own jelly rolls and create that collection for myself. So what I'm going to do is to cut it, all of the fabrics, into 2.5. Now I'm aiming for a 65-70 width, or a 75-70 in length. Okay, that's what I'm aiming for. Now it's going to just be a simple striped quilt or jelly roll quilt, and I'm going to alternate the colors. Now, because the colors on this particular 1 meter piece of fabric is so varied in terms of the variation of how it radiates and falls into the other color, I'm going to cut it so that it's obviously 2.5, but I'm going to mix it up. I'm not going to layer it the way it is, and I'm going to alternate the layers with the white and this teal color, which I think is going to work extremely well. Now, I love this as well. Again, I bought this on sale at my local fabric store, and guys, I would definitely, you know, encourage you to use your fabric store, because sometimes you can get really good discounts when they have things on sale. Okay, so that is the idea. So I'm going to start cutting, and then I will show you how it comes together. So it's some sort of a modern take on a jelly roll race, but obviously I'm not going to be sewing it together like the race and button up the ends. Okay, I'm literally going to sew it together as a complete strip set, and then iron the quilt up and add some borders to it. Okay, so I think it's going to look good. As you all know, I'm very visual, and so I visualize everything before I do it. So again, I'm going to cut this whole meter up of fabric in 2.5, and then I will then add some of the teal and the white as well and mix it all up. So I'll obviously design a pattern as I go so that you can have all of the sizes, etc., so that you can make it yourself. All right, so let me get started on cutting it, and I'll show me cutting the fabric as well. I will be honest, I'm a little bit nervous about cutting this fabric because I love it this much. I'll be very honest about that. As I said, I've had it for some time now, and I just stare at it because it's so beautiful. The funny thing is, I can just simply go buy more because they have more in stock. But I just love, I don't know what about it because I probably got it on sale. I just love it. But it's a meter, and I want to be creative and use it for something. I think it's about 60 inches in width, so I may necessarily have to add on this one as well to make up the 60, but of course I'd let you know that. So let me get started on the quilt, and I'm going to iron them all so that they're nice and flat, and so once I start cutting, it's going to be an easy process. You will also need your ruler. Now if you've got a 2.5 ruler, perfect, in the sense that you don't have to lift the ruler and keep realigning it to get the cuts. Now you can use your mat also, which will help you to do that. And you also need a very sharp rotary blade in there. So I've changed mine because it takes me ages to change it. I've changed it because I really want nice, easy, straight cuts, nothing rigid so that I've got jagged edges. So that's what I'm going to do. So you need your ruler, iron your fabric, and nice sharp new blade in your rotary cutter, and let's get started on that. Alright, so I've folded my fabric and I wanted to just explain to you what I'm actually doing here. So if you wanted to, you can just simply lay your fabric really flat and cut your 2.5 strips, but I've decided to fold mine. Alright, so I have made sure that the fold is neat, so it's not bunched up on the inner side. I can feel that it's nice and flat. My salvages are not exactly meeting, but that's not a major issue because they are going to be trimmed off anyway. All right, and what's most important, what I am doing is making sure the edge here lines up with that straight line on my mat, and I'm going to put it right on it so I can see it's nice and straight. I have the excess of the fabric here, which I will cut all of it eventually. Right, so I'm just making sure it's nice and straight because this will make sure that my fabric, there's no bow in the middle. Okay, so remember, I'm scared to do this. Normally I'm fine, to be honest. Normally I'm fine when it comes to fabric. I have no fear in cutting it, but this one, I don't know, there's something about it I just love. By the way, this fabric is called Little Johnny, okay, in case you wanted to know what sort of fabric it is. Right, so I'm just going to start cutting now. What I have done is line it up to the edge here, and I can see that the edge here is not straight, so I'm going to cut off probably about 3/4 of an inch and give myself a nice straight fresh cut, which is what I like to do, just to ensure that all my cuts are going to be nice and even. So I haven't got a 2.5 inch straight ruler, but I'm going to use my usual tools, and I use this particular one for everything. All right, so just line it up there, and I love the length of this ruler. It's a 23-inch length, and it goes literally from the top and bottom of my cutting mat, which is ideal. So I have changed my blade, and that's my fresh cut there. Right, so I'm going to move along now and do my first 2.5. And again, I'm lining up to the edge of the board where the markings are for my half, and I'm going to continue and cut. Now this may take some time, but I'm not worried. There you go, the fear is gone now. I've done my first cut, there is no turning back. All done. So again, move on now to my 2.5 other inch cut. I'm really excited about this quilt. I know it's nothing major. It is a jelly roll. In my head, it's my jelly roll, and I'm so excited about it. And it is also a beginner's quilt. And I love making beginner's quilt. It just takes away all the fear, and you can just be as creative as you want to be because it's something new, it's something simple, and even if it goes wrong, you can create it into your own. So I'm going to continue cutting all of this. Oh, sugar and spice. I hate it when I do that. And the reason why that happens is because I have not put my weight onto it. So when you're cutting yours, just ensure that you put your weight onto sort of the leverage of moving the blade so that it really cuts through the fabric. So I'm just lining up again. That's 2.5, excellent. And cutting. I am already seeing how this is fantastic. Let me show you this. Look at that. Imagine mixing it all up what this is going to look like. Look at that already. Absolutely beautiful. Hence the reason why I wanted to make this into a jelly roll. Look at that. Look at those variations of color. And I haven't even gotten down to the yellow bit as well. So I'm going to continue with this. I'm excited. I really am, to see what this looks like. And I know I could make it into something else. But as I said, I didn't want to cut it up into small pieces and do a patchwork in that particular sense, because I just wanted to show the beauty of the fabric. And as you know, guys, I love showing the beauty of the fabric. And I have fallen in love with this. Look at those colors. Ah, I mean, this will even be great for a coin quilt. Oh, look at that. It's being cut so straight that I can easily line it up there without any issues. Oh, I'm going to the end. I'm going to the end. You know, this feels really satisfying. My students say that to me, ma'am, this feels really satisfying. I'm never going to understand what they mean by that. I think today I have comprehended it. So there you go. Absolutely beautiful fabric. Right, and that, I really should have counted how many I have done, but that's not a major issue. I can always count it again. And I'm being extremely precise here. Oh, guys, you don't know how excited I am to see the end of this quilt. Seriously, I am so excited. So excited to be making my own jelly rolls up and just being so creative with it. You know, I love doing things outside the box and just being creative and not allowing anything to restrict how I want to do something. And I think, for me personally, I think that's when your creativity just simply flows so easily, because you've got no restrictions. All you have is your ideas, and limitations are out the door. So there you go. Right, so I'm almost at the end with this, and I will tell you how much of this meter fabric has given me. So if you know you have something very similar, or you've got some fabric that you reckon that you could cut up into our jelly roll strips to celebrate Jelly Roll Day, why not go for it? Join me in being fabric free and crazy, and just do something without wondering or worrying. So that's all the scrap I have left, and that looks brilliant actually. So let's have a count and see how many strips I got there. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at that. It looks almost like a jelly roll strip that I have literally bought from the store. Isn't that fantastico? Again, something my students usually say to me. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is number 11. This is number 12. 13, 14, 15. That's beautiful. So 15. Okay, so obviously now I have to make up the balance of the other set of cutting for the teal fabric, which is my other fabric, as well as the white. Okay, so I'm going to get that cut out now, and then what I'm going to do is lay everything out before I start stitching it up. So I'm just going to play with them, rearrange the colors into the idea of how it's visualized in my head, and then I will show you what it looks like. Okay, so let me do the rest of the cutting and then we'll take it from there. So you've seen me cut this, so I'm going to do the exact same thing for the next two fabric, for my accent fabric as well as for the white fabric. Doesn't that look like a jelly roll already? Look at that, guys. How beautiful is that? So join me, make your own jelly roll strips, and let's get sewing. So see you in a mo. Okay guys, so this is what they look like. So I have laid them out in alternating colors. So I've cut all the strips. I still have a lot to still add on. I haven't stitched them together. I've just laid them out at the moment. So this jelly roll strip quilt is coming together really nicely, and it really didn't take long to cut them all up. So it's beautiful, beautiful idea. I'm just loving the look of it. I mean, it kind of sings a little bit of a boohoo sort of look to it, but I'm going to keep going. I'm going to stop, I should say, and stitch this together because I have no more room on my table. So it's literally come up to the end of the table. All right, and as I said, I alternated the colors. So I started with this one, the white, the teal, which is my accent color, and I went all the way up. So it looks really lovely. I'm loving, loving, loving the colors. So I will stitch these together and then I will measure it to see how big it actually is. I don't want to go too big, but that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stitch these and then iron it, and then I'll see what it looks like. What I would say when you do yours, I would say start in the middle and then stitch, and then start in the middle and then stitch, and then bring the two pieces together. Remember to alternate your stitches, so you do one up, one down. That way you don't get that bowing. So if you start on the left and then you start on the other, on the right, so that way you just alternate the stitching. Okay, so let me go stitch this together and then I'll show you what I come up with. Okay guys, so I've stitched it all together. It's 34 of the jelly rolls in total. I haven't ironed it really flat. I'm just softening it down while I did the stitching. So it's not ironed very flat, as you can see. But I am going to add a border onto it, just one singular border onto it, and then quilt it. So far it measures 56 by 70. So it's a really nice throw size, which I am loving. I am loving the bohemian look. I just think it's absolutely beautiful. Now this is very similar to a jelly roll race. It just hasn't been constructed in the same sense as a jelly roll race would be. It took an hour, as I said, to stitch together, so it does come together very quickly. I mean, if you have jelly roll strips that you want to use rather than make your own like I did, then it will even come together a lot more quickly, because then you don't have to do the cutting. I am going to just do quilting lines. I'm not going to do anything fancy, just literally lines up and down. I may do wavy lines, but for now I'm just thinking lines, and I'll probably do them probably about 2-3 inches apart, so I don't really want them too big. So it's literally just horizontal lines I'm going to quilt. But I am loving it, I must admit. It's really, the simplicity of it looks really nice. So I'm going to go ahead and get it all basted at the border, basted, and then I shall start the quilting. So obviously I'm going to use my walking foot for this one, because it will take take it through the process very quickly. I mean, you can see all of that fabric that I so was in love with. These particular ones here, I actually love them. These are accent fabric, has played really nicely with it, and the white has just toned it down so that it's not too bright, but it brings everything together because there are white spots within the both fabric, so the main one as well as the teal fabric, so it has come together quite nicely. So let me go add the border, baste, and then start the quilting. And here it is, guys, it is completed. This quilt measures 65 by 77. It's a beautiful throw size and it has come together very lovely. It's quilted with wavy lines, as you can see. It's going to go in a little bit closer. I used my walking foot to create all of this, and again, it was a selection on the sewing machine, so again it was quite easy to do, and hence the reason why I always say, you know, do use your walking foot, because it does have really lovely features depending on the type of sewing machine that you have to help you do beautiful quilting. So I didn't have to do any sort of adjustment when it came to moving the fabric to sew. You know, sometimes if you want wavy lines, you have to sort of move the fabric you know, in a slow motion over the feed dogs, but I didn't do that. In this case, it was just a function on the sewing machine. The colors have worked out really beautifully. You know, what I really wanted to show you here is that you can use your yardage to make your own collection of fabrics, and this has come together really lovely. All the colors works really nicely, and I mean, the sparkling, and that's what I actually call it. So the very sparkling fabric here, the original one that I loved so much, all of the colors that it actually gives you there, look at that, really nicely, and that goes all the way throughout the quilt. So this has worked out really lovely, guys, and of course I added my accent color, which is teal, and I also added some white in there to make up the collection. On the border, I did a 4-inch border, and of course at the back I used a lovely print, very much a sort of hippie look in terms of the flowers, and I absolutely love it. Again, all of the quilting lines shows off at the back. Now if you wanted to do, you know, sort of intricate quilting on the quilt, you can, but I think in this particular sense it worked out really nicely, just to use it as it was, in terms of using the length or the width of the jelly roll to add the wavy lines to it. But of course you can do whatever you so see fit with your particular one, but again it works out really lovely, guys. I absolutely love it. I will do a tutorial to make some pillowcases and some cushion covers as well for this tutorial, because I think it will bring the whole look together really nicely. So that was another video that's going to be coming up very shortly for this one, and I'll bring back the quilt so you can see the overall look for it. On the binding, I did use the same for the backing fabric. So again, I didn't use any other particular fabric, I just used the same on the binding there. Okay, which is literally the same at the back. And again, I tend to do that quite a lot. Now, I did play around with the idea of using the teal or the accent color on the binding, but I just felt it didn't lift it. But with the binding as it is, with using this particular fabric, I think it worked really nicely, and it gave it sort of a different color at the edge there, if you can see that. So yeah, that works out really nice. I really love the process of making it. As you know, I fell in love with the original fabric, which is a sort of rainbow of color, sparkly rainbow fabric, and I really loved it. So guys, do like and subscribe. I hope you did enjoy the process of making this video. It's a simple one. I mean, it's very similar to a Jelly Roll race quilt, but at the end of the day, this was something that you would have cut from your collection of fabrics. You can also make it as scrappy as you want and just stitch all the Jelly Rolls together, but I really wanted to go for a simple sort of bohemian look, hence the reason why I used that particular fabric at the back as well. So it was the plan in my head, and I'm going, as I said, going to make some pillows and some cushion to actually help lift the profile of the quilt. So once again, do like and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed this video, guys, and I shall see you in the next one. Do take care, and of course, guys, happy quilting.